Good evening to the participants of the SLW-670. Karibu sana, welcome to our class. And we are dealing with the intellectual property, advanced intellectual property. And please read what I posted on the screen. Anyone can unmute and read. And here I posted is intellectual property, infringement, copyright, trademarks, law, and patents. So these are the things are there. Now, without wasting the time, let us go to our study. Yes, this thing that I would like to study today, a quick look into the intellectual property law in Tanzania. It's a volume 2, the law of trademark. When you say the law of trademark, the first bullet is the laws that regulate the trademark in Tanzania. Second bullet is how to apply for the trademark in Tanzania. And ARIPO, that is the African Regional Intellectual Property Organization. And the third bullet is possible remedies in case of infringement. So now if you go further, let us see that intellectual property law refers to the legal rights which result from the intellectual creations in the industrial, scientific, literary, and artistic fields. Intellectual property aims at safeguarding the intellectual creators and other producers of the intellectual goods and services by granting them certain time-limited right to own, and in so doing control the use, reference, and the position of those creations. Those rights don't apply to the physical object in which the creation may be embodied, but instead the intellectual creations. So let us see the intellectual property is divided into two. These are the industrial property, which includes patents, trademarks, industrial design, then copyrights. Now let us see that the definition of a trademark is concerned. Yes, anyone can unmute and read what is written there, the trademark. A trademark is a visible sign that distinguishes goods or services of one trader from those of another. It should be a word, phrase, or symbol or a design that appears on the product being sold and which serves to distinguish itself from other words, phrases, symbols, or designs in the market. Tanzania law on trademarks is, in Tanzania, trademarks are governed by the various laws specific to the mainland Zanzibar. In the mainland of Tanzania, the following law governs the trademarks. That is the Trade and Service Marks Act number 12 of the 1986, as it has been amended from time to time, and Trade and Service Marks Regulation 2000, Merchandise Marks Regulation 2008. In Zanzibar, the law that regulates the trade marks is the Zanzibar Industrial Property Act of 2008. So the different Tanzania mainland is different laws are there, and Zanzibar is different laws are there. As we made it clear on the screen, also it will be visible. Tanzania has also ratified the number of international conventions and agreements relating with the trademark, which includes World Intellectual Property Organization Convention 1967, the Paris Convention, the third bullet is nice agreements concerning the international classification of goods and services for the purpose of registration of marks. And the fourth bullet is agreement on the creation of the African Regional Industrial Property Organization, that is 1979. The last bullet is agreement on the trade-related aspect of the intellectual property rights, that is Annex 1C of the Marrakesh Agreement establishing the World Trade Organizations. So these are the different international conventions are there. Man, let us see the distinctive elements are concerned. Participants, are you there? Yes. According to section 2 of the Trade and Service Marks Act, herein referred to as the Act, a trademark is a visible sign used or intended to be used upon goods or services for the purpose of distinguishing in the course of the trade or business that goods or services of a person from those another. So if you just analyze it to section 2, that is a trade and service marks are concerned, it is referred to the act. A trademark is a visible sign, a sign and a symbol used to intended to be used, either used or intended to be used upon goods or services for the purpose of distinguishing the course of trade or business of goods or services of a person from those of another. So for instance, you take a motor vehicle is concerned, there are different logos are there. Like Benz is there, different logo. Toyota is there, different logo. And Mitsubishi is there, different logo. Ford is there, different logo. Jaguar is there, different logo. And because it will distinguish the products from one to another. The word visible is further explained under the section 2 of the Act, means any sign which is capable of graphic reproduction, it will be seen through our naked eye and includes a word or a name or a brand or emblem and so on, or logo. So it is a paramount that this visible sign is capable of distinguishing the goods and services of one person from the goods or services of another, because of this symbol is there on the product. A trademark is considered capable of distinguishing itself if at the time of the application it is inherently capable of distinguishing due to the prior use. It is important to note that where a trademark is entirely non-distinctive, no amount of use will assist to show that all it becomes a capable of distinguishing. Every product is having its trademark, or a logo, or a sign, or a symbol, or name, which will distinguish it from their product to the other product. So the Act under the section 16 elaborates that a sign is a distinctive if it is capable in relation to the goods or services of distinguishing goods or services with which its proprietor is connected in the course of the trade or business from goods or services in the case of which no such connection subsists. Either it's for the goods or services are concerned, and which will make the distinction because of this name and trade and emblem and logo. Restrictions on the marks from registrability. Can you register the each and every mark? Answer is no. However, there are some restrictions on which marks are prohibited as provided under the section 19 of the Act, and they include the first bullet: trade or service marks, the use of which would be contrary to law or morality. So if any law would be there, if any morality, against the morality, if a trademark will be used over there for a services mark and which will be contrary to law and morality, that cannot be trademarked or registrability. The second bullet is trade or services marks which would be likely to deceive or cause a confusion as to the nature, geographical or other origin, manufacturing process, characteristics or suitability for their purpose of the goods or services concerned. There also restrictions should be there. Third, trade or service marks which consist solely of the shape, configuration or a color of the goods and the container thereof. So such thing also will not be allowed. Next, trade or service marks which are identical with or imitate the armorial bearings, flags and other emblems, initials, names or abbreviations or initials of the name or official signs or hallmark of any state or of any organization created by an international covenant. So such thing also be restricted over there, and they cannot be marked as a trademark. And the last bullet says trade or services marks which constitute a reproduction in whole or in part, imitations, translations or transcriptions liable to create the confusion of a trade or services marks and business or company names which are all well known in the country and belong to the third parties. In such places also there would be a restriction would be there, and it is not here the wording they said is registrability. It cannot be registered when those billets attracted. So now let us see how to apply for a trademark. A trademark applications are filed with the Trade and Service Marks offices and are made in writing to the registrar in a prescribed format, pro forma. According to Section 21 of the Act, a proper application must be include the following bullets are there. Number one, small bullet, the name and address of the applicant, the full address. The second small bullet, the trade or business description of the applicant. What are the trade, what are the business they are going to make it out. A short description of that should be made by the applicant. The third bullet is the particular goods or services in respect of which registration of the trade or the services mark is applied for listed under the applicable clauses of the international classification. So classification should be there. What product are going to be registered, the goods or services or trade or service marks. So that should be applicable to the classes of the international classification. So the last one bullet is if the applicant's address is outside Tanzania, an address for service within Tanzania should be mentioned. And the last bullet is a declaration that the applicant or his proposed registered user is using or proposes to use the trade or service marks within Tanzania. So you should also bring it very much clear where it can be used. What being part of the ARIPO means to registration of marks. As I told you that Tanzania is having ratified the agreement on the creation of the African Regional Industrial Property Organization, that is the ARIPO. ARIPO means A is African and R is the regional and I is the industrial, P is the property and O is the organization. That means African Regional Industrial Property Organization. Also protects the trademark registered by the ARIPO. Even ARIPO registered such trademarks, yes, it will be protected. Nobody should have to use the same trademark which is used earlier and where he made registrable. Therefore, an application for a mark can be filed under this ARIPO office in the Harare, Zimbabwe, or through the Trade and Service Marks Office in Tanzania. Either way that one could have to approach and get it registrable of a particular mark or sign or name or abbreviation or symbol. In both the cases, the date of the receipt of the applications serves as the filing date and is deemed for all intents and purposes to be the date of registration. The duration of the registration of the mark in the Tanzania is 7 years from the date of the registration, but may be renewed from time to time as stipulated under Section 29 of the Act. While the duration of the registration of mark of ARIPO is 10 years from the date of registration, but in our Tanzania it is 7 years, if I not be mistaken, just what we read now. So effect of registration is concerned. Yeah, because it will be protected. The person who is the creator of the product and his product should not be exploited without paying any cost to the creator. So the Act provides that the registered proprietor has an exclusively right to the trademark. He is an exclusively right in respect of the goods for which the mark has been registered and can obtain reliefs against those who use similar marks. If any person is using the similar mark would be there, which is create a confusion, at that instance one can tap the door of the ARIPO. So Section 30 of the Act, in addition to protect the registered owner's exclusively right to use, the Act provides that the trademark which is identical or the deceptively similar to another proprietor's registered trademark in respect of the same goods or description of goods cannot be registered. If the same thing would be there, description is the same is there when already one is registered, then the second one cannot be registered on the same logo or same name and spelling, etc. That is clearly said in the Section 20, Clause 1 of the Act. However, there is an exception to the Section 20, Clause 1 of this Act. So let us see what it is. In case of an honest or a concurrent use or used in special circumstances. The registrar has the discretion to permit more than one proprietor to register identical or similar trademarks in respect of these same goods. Section 20, subsection 2 of the Act clearly makes whether the trademark, when it can be registrable, when it cannot be registrable. So, landmark infringement of the remedies are concerned. Trademark infringement is a violation of the exclusive right attached to a registered trademark without the authorization of the trademark owner or any licensees. Once the product is registered, then he is having the monopoly to use it till, as I told you, 7 years. And the trademark without the authorization of the trademark owner or any license. Infringement may occur when the infringer uses a trademark which is identical or confusingly similar to the registered trademark owned by the another person. So, in relation to products or services which are identical or similar to the products or services which the registration covers, the owner of the such registered trademark may commence legal proceedings against the infringer if he encroaches it and keeping the same logo and without any drastic change. Then people will be confused and they will buy thinking that this is the original product produced by the company. So according to section 32, clause 1 of the Act, an exclusive right granted as a result of the registration is deemed to be infringed by any person who, not being the proprietor of the trademark or registered user thereof, using by way of the permitted use. Either the section clearly mentioned that 32(1) of the Act, an exclusive right granted as a result of the registration, means a legal right would be created to you and you because you are the creator, and is deemed to be infringed by any person. Suppose if it is infringed by any person and who, not being the proprietor of the trademark and is not the proprietor of the trademark, but at that instance a registered user, therefore a person who registered in the beginning can use, therefore using by way of the permitted use or use as a sign. So either they can be permitted to use by using the force and or uses a sign. Either the name or sign or mark or logo, almost all the same when you're speaking about the trademark, which will distinguish one product from the other product. So the people will not be confused. Now the Dettol soap is there, for instance. Participants, are you hearing me? For instance, Dettol soap is there. Actually, it is prepared by the Johnson & Johnson company. But on the footpath that you will get the Dettol soap at the lesser price. Means the similar product will be produced by the other companies and selling with the same name and having the same wrapper and into the market. Of course, the original company cannot make the survey to where he is selling and how he is selling, because the amount which will be spent to make the inquiry, it will be more than whatever the selling is there. Doesn't make any difference to their production. So, which is identical with or nearly resembling it in the course of the trade or business is any manner likely to impair the distinctive character or acquired reputation of the trademark. If highly reputation would become over there, then no one should have to make it the use of such a trademark, because it is already registerable, and any person makes such an attempt, he will be brought to the court by filing a case. So the next bullet is, in applying the trademark upon the goods offer their suffered alterations as to respect to their state or conditions. It is in a self-explanatory. In applying this trademark upon the goods after they are suffered alteration as respect to their state or condition. If you feel that there is an alteration was made by somebody else, better you make up your own with your own idea and come to the point. And if you satisfy the registrable authority, I am sure that they will make the registration of that product. So where the trademark is upon the goods altering or obliterating, whether they are wholly or partly made. So, where the trademark is upon the goods or applying on another trademark or to the goods or whichever it may be, it is not restricted. Yeah, in applying it for the goods. And the last bullet says this where the trademark is upon the goods, adding to the goods any other matters in writing that is likely to injure the acquired reputation of the trademark person who purchased the trademark not. He registered the trademark where he is having the sole authority to sell it and propagate it and supply it. So, in the event there has been an infringement on one's exclusive right attached to a registered trademark, the following remedies may be explored. So, suppose if any person made a violation of the trademark by applying the same logo and making the people to understand that it is the original product of the Dettol, which is made by Johnson and Johnson, and there they cannot make that much time also there to inquire. If they want to spend the time, the amount will be spent is bigger than the amount what they are going to get it. So to request that the fact of infringement be declared by the High Court of Tanzania, and if there is infringement that will be declared by the apex court of the state, that is the High Court of Tanzania. Of course, later on that we can go for the Court of Appeal if leave petition is there or may not be there. Now, next bullet is to request an injunction to stop the infringement and to forbid the infringer from carrying out further infringing activity. So, they can also request tap the door of the court to issue the injunction so that there would not be any irreparable loss to the plaintiff. So the third bullet says that the demand and satisfaction from the infringer by way of declaration or other appropriate means. If necessary, the owner of the mark may demand that such declaration be published by the infringer or at the infringer's expenses. If there would be any encroachment would be there. Then to claim the full damages under the general law of tort or contract, or in case the trademark infringement has caused any material damage, when establishing the damages, the prejudicial effects of the infringement of all the economic activities of the enterprise are taken into consideration in awarding the damages. So these are the certain points would like to share it, and the participants, I don't know how many participants I made this selective and how many are coming, and every time when I could see that there would be a none would be there, but I told you now that if a none would be there also doesn't make any difference to me, but I will take the class because I promised to take the class and I will fulfill that promises, because promises are to be kept but not to be breached or broken. So that is the motto of mine. So when you go further, if you want to see it, let us see if any other thing we can cover it in a quick time. In the third war, intellectual property, IPR developing countries, IPR policy. Yeah, because IPR policy also important factor, but we made the schedule our classes when we should be there. But to my surprise, I could not see any one of them. And I believe that every time that you will ask for the excuses, sir, I will be busy in so and so activity, and you can excuse me. If you want to get the excuse, but you have to write in advance for the excuse, which is not lame excuse. It would be a reasonable excuse. Then it can be resolved. So this is the ARIPO, what we can see now. If till the time ends up to that extent, we will cover this one. Let us see this ARIPO. Yes, I believe that it's opening now and it is buffering. Yes, it is buffered, and you could see the ARIPO, ARIPO, and who we are and what we do. This is the logo of ARIPO. This is the logo, the sign and symbol or trademark, and these are the people, those are the members, and let us see, the contents are concerned. They have given introduction, and both the way it is written. So pre-ARIPO system for production of the industrial property. So pre-ARIPO, how it will be there, then when the ARIPO is created, how it can function it, and this is very clearly written in this in this book. What I want to show you is there. The two pre-ARIPO systems are there, and the letters are very small, but I can easily make it out. Or we do one thing: can we increase the font that I'm looking at? Yeah, if a bit font can be increased so that it could be visible to you. That's my point. Yeah, they are given the two pre-ARIPO systems, and the side heading we can read the dependent system, independent system, problems and solutions of the pre-ARIPO systems. Then we'll come to the point of this creation of the ARIPO. That is important factor how the ARIPO is created, and who are the members of the ARIPO also. It is clearly written. And members of this advantage to member states, how it can be useful if you become a member of the ARIPO. Yes, it is having the objectives here. If you happen to see this one, you could find the objectives here very clearly written over there. But I can read it, the objectives. ARIPO was established mainly to pool together resources of its member countries in industrial property and matters, and in order to avoid the duplication of the material and human resources. Thus, the preamble to the Lusaka Agreement clearly states that member states are supposed to follow what. So here, aware of the advantages to be delivered by them from the effective and continuous exchange of the information and harmonization and coordinations of their laws and activities in industrial property matters. And the member states also recognize that the creation of an African regional industrial property organization for the study and promotion of and cooperation of the industrial property matters would be best served. That serve the purposes. The pursuance of this goal in secured in 10 objectives outlined under the Article 3 of the Lusaka Agreement that those articles stated as follows. What are the articles which are stated as follows? Let us go one by one. If the time is up, we will continue in the next class. Number 1, A, to promote the harmonization and development of the intellectual property laws and matters related thereto, appropriate to the needs of its members and the regions as a whole. Excuse me. The second point is, objective is to foster the establishment of the close relationship between its members in matters relating to intellectual property. Yes, the cooperation should be there, and that is a must. Okay, sooner or later it will be going to be closed. Till close, let me continue it. And the C point is to establish such common services or organs as may be necessary or desirable for the coordination, harmonization and development of the intellectual property activities affecting its members. So if you go to the next is to establish the scheme for the training and staff of the, within 5 minutes it will be stopped. Okay. To establish the scheme for the training staff in the administration of intellectual property laws. And the next is to organize the conference, seminars, and other meetings in intellectual property matters. The next point is to promote and encourage the idea of experience, research, and studies relating to the intellectual property matters. And the next is to promote and evolve a common view and approach of its members on intellectual property matters. Next point is to assist this member on an appropriate or the acquisition and developmental technology relating to the intellectual property matters. The last button is to promote in its members the development of the copyright and related rights and ensure that the copyright and related rights contribute to the economic, social, and cultural development of members and of the region as a whole. And the last point is to do all such other things as may be necessary or desirable for the achievement of these objectives. So these are the around about 10 RIPO objectives are there where the member state could observe it and they could do it. So here if you could see the member state, their flags are here like the Botswana, Gambia, China, and then we can go here the Kenya, then Lesotho, Kingdom of Lesotho, Liberia, then we say Malawi. These are the, yes, down also we can Sierra Leone and Somalia Republic and Sudan Republic. Then we can see the Swaziland, Kingdom of Swaziland. In the left hand side you can see the Mozambique, Namibia, Rwanda, and Sao Tome and Principe Democratic of Republic of. These are the French colonies are there, most of them. And we can see the Tanzania, the United Republic of Tanzania also there. Uganda is there, Zambia is there. And these are all the, Zimbabwe is there. So these are all the members of the RIPO. And whatever the intellectual property right would be there, and it will be protected, and there would not be any violation to the creator, and up to the period which is there, up to that extent he can monopoly it. After that period is over, I believe that it becomes the open for the market to avail it. And here also you can see the countries which names are given, already we discussed. From the bottom we can see that the Lesotho is there, and Swaziland is there, Mozambique is there, Botswana, Namibia, Zimbabwe, Zambia, Malawi, Tanzania, Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, Sao Tome and Principe, and Ghana, Liberia, and Sierra Leone, the Gambia, and and Sudan. So these are the areas where we can say, yes, very small countries like the Gambia is a very small one, and Sao Tome and Principe, they are the islands. And when you say the members of the states of this ARIPO, and member states are, which is clearly given in the blue color ink. And participants, are you hearing me? The participants are sleeping, or they will not be present over there. I don't know what will happen to them. So please try to listen and try to attend the classes, and I have made the schedule also there, and I'm sure that you will be get benefited. Even if you are absent also, you could at least watch it. But if you could participate it and your impact is more, like I told you that if you participate, you are like watching the circus. If you just listening it, then you are watching a movie in a theater. That is the only the difference that you could find it, and that I made it very much clear to you in the earlier classes also. So ARIPO activities, ARIPO objectives, and you have seen it, and the member state should have to follow it, and then definitely
So I spend a lot of time working on social media for my clients. I create a lot of video content